My name is Ron Mills, and I'm currently a candidate for Department of Florida surgeon for the 2018-2019 year. I'd like to give you a little information about my background. My leadership and team building skills actually come from my time in the civilian world. I graduated from high school with honors from Fenton, Michigan in 1968, and immediately went to work for General Motors, which most people in Michigan did at that time. Shortly thereafter, I got my draft notice in the mail, and off to Fort Knox, Kentucky I went. And from there, it was on to Vietnam, where I served an extended tour, and that's where I got my eligibility for the VFW. Upon getting out of the service, I returned to Michigan, went right back to work for General Motors, where I actually spent 32 years in various different capacities working for them, finishing my career working in safety and ergonomics. I got very involved in the fire service during that time. I went to night school. I got a degree in public fire education, became a paramedic, became a fire service instructor for the state of Michigan, and taught firefighting classes around the state, specializing in vehicle extrication and incident command. This kind of coincided with my work at General Motors, as that's when hazardous materials became a very big issue. And I put together the first hazardous material teams in the plants there in the Flint, Michigan area, and was responsible for training them and their fire brigades. So I sort of played off of both jobs at the same time. I worked my way through the fire service while working for General Motors, and eventually was hired as the fire chief for the city of Swartz Creek in Clayton Township, where I was responsible for overseeing 3 fire stations and 75 firefighters. It wasn't until I retired from General Motors, I went to work for Myers as a night store director for 5 years, and then my wife and I moved down here to Florida. That's when I became involved in the VFW. We would drive by that post there in Madeira Beach almost every day for about a year before we finally stopped in one day just to see what it was all about. I became a member of the post. At their first elections, I was elected as a trustee. 3 months later, the senior vice commander left, and I became the senior vice commander. It was only 3 months after that that the commander left, and I became the post commander. And I am still the commander to this day, going on, well, almost 7.5 years now. I've also got very involved in the district. I became a district trustee, a district adjunct, junior vice commander, senior vice commander, and then I was district commander for District 9 2 years ago. I've served on different committees for the state. Currently, I serve on the Budget and Finance Committee and Commander Special Project Chairperson. So I have a very strong passion for the VFW. I feel that I have a lot more to give. I want to give a lot more to the VFW, and the only thing I can do is to move up into the department chairs now, and to further my career and to help serve the veterans of this state. So that's what I'm asking you to do. Consider me as your next department surgeon. I think there are several issues that we have to look at. The VFW, really, we're in sort of a transition stage at the national, department, district, and post levels. Our membership is dwindling every year, and the only way we're going to get that back, I believe, is to focus on the young members. We're not attracting the young members, our young veterans, and getting them involved. So we need to do something a little bit different. They seem to want some sort of a challenge, a competition, whether it be a 5K race, a fishing tournament, something for their family, whether it's a scavenger hunt, a family picnic, a family fishing contest. But we have to get these young people engaged and involved. Now, part of our membership problem, I believe, is the suicide. There are 22 veterans committing suicide every day. Now, it's not a topic that we like to talk about, but I feel it's a topic that we need to talk about. If you take those 22 veterans a day, that's 154 of our young veterans are committing suicide every week. 660 every month. 8,030 in a year's time. Some of those veterans are already members of the VFW. Many of them are not. But we have the opportunity, and we should be taking the opportunity to reach out to these young veterans and help them. Now, part of the reason I think that we can't help them is we need more education ourselves to know what to look for. You know, what are the signs and symptoms of someone who's considering suicide? Now, who better to bring that information to you than your department surgeon? We could do that at the School of Instruction. We could do it at all of our conferences, and then we could reach out to the talking points at all of the district meetings. So I think it's something that we can't just keep accepting. We must take some sort of action. And so I'm asking you to please consider voting for me as your next Department of Florida surgeon. Thank you very much.